Are you right wing or left wing? Um, my favorite wings are, um, honestly, I really like buffalo wings.
Hi, welcome back to Through the Muck and the Mire. I'm your host, David Hollifield, if you've never been here before. If you have been here before, thanks for coming back. Please hit the like and please subscribe if you haven't already. Feel free to comment, say whatever the hell you want. Don't hold back. People already don't hold back. People apparently are very opinionated about things that I have to say. So let her rip and I will respond. Cheers. Drinking a little bit of Weller bourbon. Hopefully you'll all have a drink with me. Anyways, let's talk about the election 2020. So if you do know me, if you know my channel, there's a little fuzz floating around. If you do know me, I've been pretty critical of Donald Trump, to say the least, and I have been that way since 2015. I originally wanted to like him, but I just didn't say. I was gonna say haven't agreed with him, but I didn't before. Now I think I do. Unfortunately, it's gonna come as a huge shock to people because I've been a libertarian. I voted for what's his name, the Aleppo guy in 2016. And now I've been supporting what's her name, the other Joe. But the thing is, like, she just doesn't have a name, like nobody knows who she is. And, she could have great policies like wanting to end no-knock raids and, wanting to end qualified immunity and wanting to, not have a authoritarian, like, centralized federal government. Those are all great ideas. Ending the war on drugs, keeping us out of regime change wars. Those are good ideas, but she's not really a choice, right? I mean, the choice it's simple. It's between Joe Biden, the real Joe, and Donald Trump. And Joe Biden sucks. So I'm going to tell you why Donald Trump doesn't suck as much. Because we're going to do lesser of two evils. We're just going to go ahead and keep on perpetuating this lesser of two evils thing. And Donald Trump sucks less. And here's why. So from the very beginning, and I know a lot about Donald Trump. I've paid attention to every little tiny detail that the liberal media has pushed out. When he eats a McDonald's double cheeseburger, I know about it. When he has a steak ordered fully well cooked and eats it with ketchup, I know about it. When he's sitting in his bathtub scrolling on Twitter endlessly, I hear about it. I know all of these things. I know everything basically about Donald Trump. I know all these things. I also happen to know about a little bit about the Constitution. I'm still learning more, but I have a book right here, so it helps me out. Well, not this book, but this book. Anyways, I feel like I'm making a very informed decision here. I know a lot about Donald Trump. I've spent the last 5 years criticizing him. So I know all of his goods and all of his bads, and I know not all of them, but I know a lot of goods and bads out of the Constitution. And where I'm going with this is basically that kind of like, similar to how Donald Trump said back in like 2015 or 16 that he's smarter than all of the military generals, Petraeus, McCraven, the ex-SEAL guy, what's the guy, the dog, big dog, mad dog, whatever the Marine Corps one is that people think is hot shit. Donald Trump is better than him, hands down. He made him look like an idiot. And now, which one of them has a job right now? Donald Trump is the president of the United States, and the big dog doesn't even have a job. So I guess you could say he's in the doghouse. No, probably not. Anyways, let me just go ahead and get to the point here. I think that Donald Trump needs to have complete authority. And he said that himself, kind of, sort of. That's a little bit taken out of context, but we'll get to that later. But basically, the president should have full authority. Like, he is the executive. He should have full executive power to make decisions for the country, for our national well-being, national defense, all of that. And he shouldn't have to worry about the judicial system meddling in his stuff, like trying to stop his Muslim ban. What's that about? And like he's in court right now for possibly violating the emoluments clause. Like that should have automatically been thrown out. He filed a motion to dismiss, and the judge gave summary judgment to the plaintiff instead. Like that's ridiculous. That judge should have thrown that out because he's the president. Anyways, I want to talk about some of the constitutional topics that he has hit on that are obviously huge. You know, basically most of the entire Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments, most of them. He's talked about freedom of the press. He's talked about freedom of religion. He's talked about gun rights, due process, states' rights. So let's get into it. You know, the media, obviously, I just listed off some stupid things that the media has talked about. Like, who cares if the president ate a well-cooked steak, right? Who cares if the president eats his well-cooked steak with ketchup? I don't. I mean, I think that's pretty lame, but it doesn't matter because he's the president. He can do whatever he wants, and it doesn't affect my life, right? But yeah, he's talked about, like, you know, basically trying to have like a state-run media so that he can make sure that they're putting out the right information. You know, kind of similar to like what Cuba does with their, you know, some people call it propaganda, but really it's just the government in Cuba making sure that people know reality. So like in Cuba, if you go there, you know, I haven't been there personally, but I've heard stories. But they've got big billboards that talk about, you know, like praising Fidel, which we should have billboards praising Trump. They talk about how America's bad because, you know, that's what Fidel, you know, he has information about America being bad, you know, so we're bad. And that's what it is, because they're state-run media. So he gets to tell his country that. So if Donald Trump, you know, they're a bad example because obviously they're communist. So they might not put out good information, but Donald Trump, if he had that power, he would put out good information. And I don't think it's a bad idea that the government could control the media at all. Don't think that's bad at all. Like, the government has our best interests in mind always, and that's been evident throughout history. The government always has our best interests in mind. So, and Donald Trump obviously has our best interests in mind. He's a smart man. He's accomplished. He's rich. He knows what he's doing. So anyways, that's the part of the First Amendment, freedom of religion. You know, he's kind of been a little bit critical of Muslims. You know, he tried to ban them from coming into the country. You know, we tried to skirt the issue and act like it was about terrorist countries. But if we go back to the original comments from the campaign, we know that he is really trying to protect us from Muslims because Muslims are terrorists. You know, there's like millions and millions and millions of Muslims all over the world, and the vast majority of them are not terrorists. But, you know, if there's one bad apple in the whole bunch, you're not going to touch any of that. You should throw all the apples out, right? If there's one bad apple, just throw them all out. So that's what he's doing, you know, with that travel ban. So, you know, the courts got involved, and, you know, he had to try to kind of change the wording because it wasn't politically correct. So he changed it to like terrorist countries instead of Muslim countries. But anyways, that's just basically his genius at work. So then the Second Amendment, he's done a lot with the Second Amendment. He has spoken a lot with the Second Amendment, and he's not just talk. He is about action. And I always say that action speaks louder than words. And I've got some visuals for you, some visual aids. Not AIDS like the disease, but like, you know, help you to see AIDS. So let me see. All right, so let's start with the tweet. This was in 2018. I will be strongly pushing comprehensive background checks with an emphasis on mental health, raise age to 21, and end sale of bump stocks. Congress is in a mood to finally do something on this issue, I hope. So let's talk about that for a second. He's saying that he hopes that Congress, let me get this out of my face. He hopes that Congress is in a mood to do something because Congress has traditionally talked about, you know, common sense gun control. Obama talked about common sense gun control. And Obama's a traitor because Obama didn't do common sense gun control like he said he would. And Congress didn't do it while Obama was in office. But Donald Trump talked about it, and he is about it.
A stay-at-home.
Oh, that's the wrong one. Let's see. Slippery slope. There we go. So he's not just talking about it, he is about it. He hasn't yet dropped the age of buying a rifle, or not dropped, but increased it from 18 to 21 yet. But that's probably in the works, especially now that Kyle Rittenhouse, the stupid 17-year-old, decided to defend himself from violent protesters. That kid should have never had a gun, and Donald Trump knows it. And so I guarantee, so this bump stock ban happened in response to the Las Vegas shooting. So that guy had a bump stock, which basically, it's not a fully automatic weapon. It's not a machine gun. It's not an assault rifle. It's just a semi-automatic rifle. But the way that a bump stock works, it's kind of like a spring. It's kind of hard to describe, but basically it just helps you to pull the trigger faster. You can do the exact same thing. Like, you can look up videos on YouTube to do this exact same thing without a bump stock. You can just put your thumb in the loop of your pants, basically, and just bounce your trigger finger off the trigger. It does the exact same thing. But we should have bump stocks anyways, even though you can do that without a bump stock, because it was the right thing to do. And Donald Trump did that. He talked about it, and he did it. He followed through on his word. What other politicians really do that? Congress didn't do it. Obama didn't do it. Obama talked big, talked about, common sense gun control. But here is evidence. Obama actually passed 2 bills while he was in office that expanded gun rights. Can you believe that? And he's talking about, we need common sense gun control. Trump on the other hand, called bump stocks machine guns. And so what he did, this is really creative, and this just shows his brilliance. Basically, so through his executive authority, he worked with the ATF to basically change the definition of a machine gun. And a machine gun is an automatic rifle that you can shoot more than one bullet with one pull of the trigger. But what they did was they changed the definition to include bump stocks and anything else that makes a semi-automatic rifle shoot faster. Which, there's going to be a whole bunch of people talking about a slippery slope, and they're going to, go for this and that afterwards. It's probably right, but, I trust Donald Trump to make those decisions. And hopefully he'll be in office for a very, very, very long time. So we won't have to worry about some idiot getting in office and, reversing these unconstitutional laws and regulations. Because we have to remember here, basically that, I don't know if I'm hitting this home or not, but we need to get rid of the Constitution. We need to just let Donald Trump make all of the choices, all of the laws. He needs to not have to worry about the Supreme Court or Congress or anything like that, because Congress has been ineffective. As you can see here, Donald Trump had to do the gun control, not Congress. And here, let's see. So that was the slippery slope. Since we're talking about authority and Donald Trump not needing Congress and not needing, judicial review from the court system, we should also talk about the 10th Amendment. Oh, hold up. Don't let me get ahead of myself. We're still talking about the Second Amendment. There's one more thing that's actually really important about the Second Amendment. Red flag laws, which also stemmed from Las Vegas on Donald Trump's part. We've talked about them in the past. Some states use them, but Donald Trump started talking about them after Las Vegas. And basically what a red flag law is that you can report somebody for questionable behavior, basically, and the local authorities can come and take their weapons from them without actually proving that they were a threat. And so basically, if you think somebody might be have mental health issues, or you think that they might be threatening you or something like that, let's say, so I'm a veteran, my next door neighbor doesn't like me, he's mad because I haven't cut my backyard in 4 weeks, and he can see into my backyard. He thinks it's gross. We get into a little argument, and he calls 911 and says, hey, my next door neighbor is a crazy veteran with PTSD and he has rifles. I think he's going to kill me. The cops, if red flag laws were enacted in Georgia, they could just come to my house and take my guns. I don't actually have to threaten him. He doesn't have to show proof of it. He could just say that and they would come take my guns. And if you think about it, that's smart, right? Like, hold on. Let's just see what Donald Trump has to say about that, actually.
Go to court, obtain an order, and then collect not only the firearms, but any weapons in the possession
Or
of that
might
individual.
take the firearms first and then go to court, because that's another system. Because a lot of times, by the time you go to court, it takes so long to go to court to get the due process procedures. I like taking the guns early, like in this crazy man's case that just took place in Florida. He had a lot of firearms. They saw everything. To go to court would have taken a long time. So you could do exactly what you're saying, but take the guns first, go through due process second.
So basically what Donald Trump said was like, take the guns early and worry about due process later. And so what due process of the law is, if you don't know, is there's a process that is due to you that the government has to give you the opportunity, because you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. You have to be able to defend yourself against allegations, and the government has to prove that you're actually guilty of what you're accused of before that they can do something to you. So basically we're circumventing that with red flag laws, which Donald Trump is he's definitely in support of this, because he knows it's the right thing to do to save America, to protect American lives. Actually, Kyle Rittenhouse, again, have you seen his Facebook page? Posing with these rifles all the time? That's scary. Somebody could actually probably report him, and he probably could have got his guns taken away well before this event ever happened. And in that case, he wouldn't have been able to defend himself against those violent protesters, so they wouldn't have died. He might have died, but they wouldn't. So, what's one life compared to two lives? Two violent lives, or one... What was that? Hold on. Anyways, so yeah, I think that's a good idea. And I'm just continuing to prove that Donald Trump knows better than the Constitution, because the Constitution said in the Second Amendment says shall not be infringed. And I know that's like the pro 2A people were like, shall not be infringed. You don't need a weapons permit or anything like that, because the Second Amendment says shall not be infringed. And, the Second Amendment was written for us to be able to defend ourselves against a tyrannical, authoritarian, fascist government that would, murder us without due process, or try to circumvent election processes, stuff like that. So we're kind of advocating for Donald Trump to get rid of election processes anyways at this point, because we want him to be president forever. So that's another thing that we can just, Constitution, that's stupid. Screw it. Donald Trump forever. Whatever gun laws he wants, he can have. And, so back to the authority thing. So he said, grab the guns early. Don't worry about due process. He also said that he should have complete authority. And that was in response to COVID. So COVID, shelter in place. There were a lot of governors that waited a long time. Some went too early. Some went too late. Basically Donald Trump was like, if I was in control, which he is in control. He was basically like, you guys need to do what I tell you to do, because I have complete authority. And if I wanted to, I could just trump all of you. You see what I did there? I could trump you and just say, screw what Governor Kemp wants. I can do whatever I want because I'm the president. I'm putting some words, I'm elaborating a little bit, but basically that's kind of what he said. So here's his actual words.
A stay-at-home. When you say my authority, the president's authority, not mine, because it's not me. This is when somebody's the president of the United States, the authority is total, and that's the way it's got to be.
Sorry, I was having a little sip of my Weller bourbon. I hope you're drinking with me because this is fun. Nothing like a good bourbon. So anyways, as you can see, governors are stupid. Local government is stupid. We should have a centralized federal government with one person in power so we don't have to worry about all this different communication, lack of effectiveness. Congress doesn't want to do anything. The Supreme Court is trying to step in and stop things in the middle. Like, let us just figure things out, okay? Quit butting in, mind your own business, let the president handle it. Governors need to just sit back and do whatever the president tells them to do. Screw the 10th Amendment. 10th Amendment basically says that any powers not vested in the federal government by the Constitution are left to the state or the people to decide. And then the states have their own state constitution, and in the state constitution, it spells out what are called police powers. And police powers does not mean like cops police. It just means like policing your state. Policing in a verb, not a noun. And police powers include typically the right to restrict people and property from certain things, which would be a shelter-in-place order. And it has to follow the state constitution and then the state Supreme Court. See, there's too many moving parts here. Why can't we just have the president do it? Because if we follow this rule, then Georgia Constitution, then the Governor Kemp has to actually read the state constitution. He has to actually know what he's allowed to do and what he's not allowed to do. If that wasn't the case, then he could just be told what to do by the president and not have to read anything. I hate reading. So I'm cool with this. I bet Kemp is probably cool with it too. He doesn't seem like the type to read, this little click clack campaign ads and get in the back of my truck, immigrants. He's probably not a heavy reader, so I doubt he's read the state constitution. This would save him a lot of trouble. Donald Trump could just tell him what to do. But that's not how it works. So right now, actually, it is how it works because Donald Trump said it is how it works. Donald Trump said he has complete authority. So what the governors think is that the Constitution gives them the power because that's what the Constitution says, but Donald Trump knows better. So the way that we're letting it play out, Donald Trump is a very gracious leader, a very gracious supreme leader, and he's letting things play out even though he doesn't have to because he has complete authority. He's letting the states decide their own and letting the Supreme Court of the state decide whether it's a reasonable restriction or not for COVID. But in the end, Donald Trump knows what he can and can't do. So, all right, well, that's enough. I mean, I'm just ranting at this point. There's probably countless other things we could talk about. We could talk about the emoluments clause, the fact that that's not in Supreme Court, it's in appeals court right now. It's kind of a big deal that he requested a motion to dismiss. That got rejected by the court, and the court gave summary judgment to the plaintiff, which basically means that there's some merit to the case that Donald Trump has violated the emoluments clause enough that it should be looked into. But if there wasn't this pesky old document that's however many 100 years old, and there wasn't this pesky court system to get involved and butt into businesses that it's not its own, then we wouldn't have to worry about that, and Donald Trump can do whatever emoluments that he wants to do, and he'd be saving America in the process. And also, Donald Trump has a really great track record of praising like some of the best international leaders in the world, obviously in the world because they're international. Obviously international because they're not American, because the only good leader in America is Trump. But anyways, yeah, so he has a great eye for leadership. He's talked about Putin, talked about President Xi, whatever the Chinese one is, XI, I don't know how to pronounce that. And then Kim Jong-un from North Korea. Yeah, so these are people that just instill respect, because they have their people's greatest intent in mind always. They are always taking care of their people. China, for instance, yeah, they've let, some really bad things happen with wet markets, and like these diseases get out and then they try to cover it up, and, lots of really sketchy stuff like that. But they also have internment camps for Muslims where they murder like this whole entire group of Muslims. It's like a small, subcategory of Islam that, the Chinese people don't like them, kind of like Donald Trump doesn't like Muslims. So they take care of it in China. They don't have to worry about the court system buttoning, or Congress, or, whatever pesky document says. They don't have pesky document, because the president in China rules everything, just like Putin, just like Kim Jong-un. And that's why Donald Trump loves them. And, he's talked about how they all get praised and they all get respected. All their leaders compliment them and listen to everything that they say. All the people listen to them and praise them. That's what we need. We need to have mandatory nationalism, where if you hear if I go out in the street and start to sing the national anthem myself, you should come out in your driveway and stand and put your freaking hand over your heart, take your hat off, whatever, respect, okay? Because that's what they do in under Kim Jong-un and Putin and the guy from China. So, that's the type of respect and nationalism and pride and patriotism that we need in America. I'm trying to think of other examples. They've got like sweatshops in China. Oh yeah, their economy, they're killing it. We owe China so much money because China's killing it. Their economy is killing it. They so I'm redoing my office here, which is why there's a change of scenery. But I bought an American flag for this wall over here, and if you get on Amazon and type in American flag, some of them even say made in America. But if you go scroll down to the bottom, look at the reviews, right above reviews on Amazon, there's questions. And usually there's a question that says, is this flag made in America? And somebody has to actually answer that. Or you can find it in the comments in the reviews. And pretty much almost none of the flags are actually made in America, because China has sweatshops. So they're taking all of our jobs and giving their jobs to their people because they love their people, and they're taking care of their people, and they're bringing all that American cash to them. They're selling American pride. What the hell? We should be selling American pride, and we should be mandating that you have, actually everybody should have an American flag, and Americans should make them. And so that's like a whole bunch of money for America. Is there anything else? Kim Jong-un. Oh yeah, he just like shoots people in the face if they disagree with him. I think that's a great policy. Like I'm pretty sure he's got a cousin or a family member or something. Probably really easy to Google it. Disagreed with him about something, minor dispute, and Kim Jong-un just had him executed. Donald Trump is on the same page. He's with it. Okay, he's cool with that. As long as the person that's using the gun is above the age of 21 and it doesn't have a bump stock, and they pass a background check and nobody reports them for red flag violation, then they should be able to shoot that person in the face if you tell them to. Because he said it, like, the Fifth Avenue comment, that was way back. Maybe y'all don't remember that, but I remember that. He said, if I could walk down on the Fifth Avenue and shot somebody right now, none of my supporters would care. And that's true. I wouldn't care, because I think that's a cool policy to have. And he's a wise man. He's a wise guy. I guess, when I say wise guy, I think of mafia. And that kind of makes a little bit of sense too, because his family was, one of the conglomerates, or I don't know if that's the right word, but New York, his family like ruled New York during the rise of the mafia. So maybe that's where he gets some of his business pizzazz from, some of his wise guyness from. He's quippy, he's funny, he's smart, he's all of these things, great businessman, authoritative, smart guy. He knows what's up. So ultimately, yeah, we need to get rid of this document. We need to try something new. We need to try something new in America. It's been how many years, how many hundreds of years? This whole like democratic republic crap is not working. This constitutional crap is not working. Okay, so we need to try. I think I might have bashed fascism and communism earlier, but I think that we should maybe give it a shot with Donald Trump. As long as he gets to be the guy, as long as he gets to be the fascist, I'm cool with it. All right, because I actually believe in his message. So as long as he gets to be my fascist dictator, I will let him dictate me. Okay, I'll do anything that man says, and I'll believe anything he says, and I'll defend anything he does, because he is a amazing leader and he's a smart man. And I'm just going to leave it at that. Oh, I just noticed something. This glass is, I don't know if you can see that. We the people. Yeah, I'm going to have to get rid of that. I guess after I finish this glass, I'm going to go shatter this stupid fucking glass and maybe burn that book along with it. And anyways, if you're on board with my message, like, subscribe, share it. I'm going to include my Venmo in the comment section, and I want you to donate, and I will